Let's go ahead and add some E&J. Oh, hey everybody. CEO Prepper here, just adding some new alcohol to my bartering alcohol. As you see, I got some E&J in here. Basically, originally I started this and I had nothing but vodka. I figured, people that we're trying to barter with probably want a little variety other than we got vodka, that's it, take it or leave it. They may want a little brandy, little whiskey. So we got some Jim Beam apple whiskey, we got some tequila. We're trying to work on this. And of course we got a bunch of vodka. So this video isn't about our bartering item choices. I just want you to know that now. However, we will be discussing why I am no longer on Facebook doing either Black Prepper Society or the Survivor's Edge page on Facebook. Also, we'll be talking about why I am no longer on Twitter. However, you'll still find me here on YouTube for the time being, and my new accounts that I'm starting on both Rumble and BitChute, which I am actually going to get into a little bit more, as well as Minds and Gab. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the Survivor's Edge. Okay, late last year, had a couple of events happen which made me really think about getting rid of Facebook, and then I had an event that actually made that happen. So that's actually three things. Okay, so let's start off with the possible security breaches, where somebody, well, actually a couple different people tried to blow my OPSEC. One was very sly about it. The other one was a little more overt, and this is where I actually had my very first run-in with one of these liberal lunatics. So let's start with that one, because that one was the first event. A guy actually found his way to Black Prepper Society, and he got on there and he started attacking attacking me, accusing me of being a white guy or a group of white people posing as a black person running a Black Preppers page. So he's just coming out saying this with no evidence. Accused me of being a Trump supporter, which I'll be honest, I don't care what anybody's political affiliation is. Um, yes, I am a conservative. Most preppers are. Um, and also, I've played politics for 20 years. I've been on both sides of the aisle. I know, who's full of crap and who's not. And, you know, this guy was obviously a member of a group that is not very well known, actually. Not very well known at all in the black community, known as the Boule. Now, if this were back during slavery times, we called them the house ins. Uh, but uh, he was one of those. But here was the thing: he actually went on Black Purpose Society under a fake account, fake name, fake picture, the whole nine yards. And the way I found this out was he actually followed um, who um, the groups that I was my Black Purpose Society page was members of, certain black gun groups, so on and so forth. Well, he went under those with his real profile and started attacking me, saying, in those groups that um, I was a white guy or a group of white people posing as black. Uh, of course, you know what the allegations are. And so I met this threat head on and said, no, that's not true. This guy's an idiot and an, an effing liar. And well, then he was wanting me to prove um, that I was not, and so he wanted to know my name, my location, what I look like, and I'm like, dude, I don't know you. Who are you? The FBI? CIA? What? And so I was blocking him, so on and so forth. And but before I went ahead and blocked him, I looked at both of his profiles, and of course, the first one I knew was the fake profile. But the second one, the one that he came after me in another group in, that was his real profile. And so at the end of the day, I knew who he was, his real name, what his occupation was, where he was. So I knew that he had an AR-15, looked like a Remington 870 shotgun, and he had a 50 caliber Desert Eagle handgun. Apparently he's making up for something there. I knew that he was an attorney in Cincinnati, Ohio. I knew his real name. I'm not going to say his name. I knew what fraternity he was in. Um, and he's in one of those black Greek fraternities, which is pretty much a stepping stone to be admitted into the Boule. But he's one of those that wants to try and keep us as a people oppressed under the slave masters of the Democrat Party. Yes, I do know my history. I am a history buff. I am a political scientist. There we go. Case closed. So yeah, I went ahead and blocked him, and it was kind of peace and quiet after that. Now, the next situation, and just give me a second here. Okay, now the second situation, again, both of these situations happen within like maybe 2 or 3 weeks to a month and a half away from each other. But this was toward the end of 2020. And the second situation was a little more interesting. I had gotten an email uh, from a lady um, who wanted to, um, who claimed to be a producer, and she was wanting to start a TV show uh, like Doomsday Preppers, except more skills based. Um, and so, while it sounded intriguing, I had to go through. Um, I had to go through and ask her a number of questions. For instance, like, so what's the name of the show? Blah blah blah. What networks or anything are you working with, and so on and so forth. Well, the interesting thing about this was that she never answered those questions, but she wanted to know where we were to, come out and film, so they could come out and film and everything else and yada yada yada. I was like, well, I have to talk to my wife about, um, having people come out to where we are and film and things like that. Um, but when I explained the situation to Mrs. CEO Prepper, um, and I expressed my concerns, about blowing our OPSEC um, to both this lady and I also explained those concerns to my wife. Um, my wife pointed something very interesting out. She's like, did she ever tell you what the name of the show was or where it was going to be? Did she ever answer your questions? And I was like, no. And of course, I'd actually talked to the lady on the phone, and still none of this, none of this, none of these questions have been answered. So um, I told her that that my wife and I weren't comfortable exposing our OPSEC for the show, and even though this lady was promising not to blow our OPSEC, um, we still didn't feel comfortable enough, when we broke off discussion at that point, um, because some people um, who are trying to figure out um, who um, who they're trying to attack. One of the best ways to do that, if you look at military history, one of the best ways to figure out how to attack your opponent is to gather as much intel in the slyest way possible. In this regard, um, this particular person was trying to uh, figure out, or she figured out the angle to try and get in with us is to uh, appeal to our nature to want to be uh, famous or whatever. But if you look at how the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor back in 1941, they had actually had spies living on the island, gathering as much information, where the ships were, how was the layout set up, um, what the weather was. I mean, they knew everything they could possibly need to know in order to make that attack successful, and keep it as covert as possible. Um, because they blew our OPSEC in 1941, um, and of course caught the United States Navy sleeping. Um, but we got them back at the end. However, um, the same situation seemed to apply here. She was trying to get in with that question of, can I appeal to their greed of wanting to be famous and maybe even financially beneficial, whatever. Um, and in our case, it didn't work. And before anybody starts asking questions, because I did say yes, I talked to her on the phone. However, I used an old trick called *67 to block my number. Um, and we haven't heard from her since. But yeah, the first guy, he was pressuring me like he was the feds or something. And obviously, she came in a more sly approach. Now, whether or not they're working together or not, I highly doubt that. She was out of New York, he was out of Cincinnati. But um, the apparently, you got parties out there that are trying to uh, get in to figure out who um, certain people are, um, maybe to attack them at a later date, or trying to destroy their character or what have you, uh, to keep people under an oppressive ideological thumb. Um, but that's the kind of thing that us preppers have to watch out for. Now, what actually got me off of Facebook, um, that was due to a question I had asked somebody. Basically, somebody, one of these other liberal lunatics, and I'm actually not using that terminology loosely. They are liberal lunatics, um, because there's no other way to explain it. They're liberal. They're bootlicking leftist. I mean, if they were bootlicking far rightist, I'd call them the same thing, but they're not. They're far left to left, bootlicking leftist, and obviously a member of the Boule. But this one, he was a white guy, and I actually know this guy. That's the sad part. Um, a friend of mine, a mutual friend of ours, actually posted a a article talking about Biden's niece getting in trouble for the third time for DUI and getting let go, and basically because of who she is, and this particular person made a comment saying, well, that's just like Trump's kids begging him for, that's just like when Trump's kids begged him for a pardon and blah 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 blah. And so I responded with, just out of curiosity, uh, when did his kids actually beg him for a pardon, and for what crimes did they commit? And do you have any evidence to prove this? Like, do you have any articles? What? Um, and I was like, because I haven't heard of this. And even though I watch and read the news on a daily basis, I wanted to see what he was talking about. And he did not. Um, and instead of answering my questions, he immediately came out and started attacking me, telling me I need to take a flying leap and blah, 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 blah. In the end, he actually started accusing me of being a white supremacist. I'm like, how am I a white supremacist when I'm black? What kind of sense does that make? I was like, maybe you should get your white supremacist head out of your ass because you actually are white. Um, but they always say the easiest way to basically accuse somebody what you are is to accuse them first. And Goebbels said that the easiest way to tell a lie is to tell it over and over again until people are convinced it's the truth. As you see that in our mainstream media today, you can't trust a damn thing they say. Anyways, so he's sitting there, um, you know, attacking me. And so finally I was like, okay, you know what? You can take a flying leap off of a certain tower in a certain city, and, you know, and I just went down the list of, other insults that I could use. And I was like, and the thing is, you never answered my question. You never provided any evidence. You just said something and expected people to believe it. But you know, you can't say that. That's blatantly defaming somebody, and people can actually sue you for that. Well, he went ahead and reported me to the Facebook police, and I got banned. Not once but twice on Facebook. Both of my profiles got banned, and so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to report him real quick too. And so I was actually able to report him before I got banned. But yeah, so that's how I ended up off Facebook. Now I got off Twitter voluntarily because with all the censorship and stuff, I wasn't on Twitter that much anyways. But with all the censorship going on, I was like, you know what, I these two do not need my business. Um, and I'm tired of them making money off me trying to sell my personal information, even though I have VPNs and I put all kinds of fake information up there anyway. So I went ahead and killed my Twitter accounts and basically told Jack Dorsey to shove Twitter straight up his place where the sun don't shine. So that's that. All right, now on to making prepping videos to get these back out here. So thank you guys for sitting in on this one. But I know a lot of you were wondering what the heck's been going on. Why didn't you be making any videos? Basically, I wanted to take a time out so I could um, get some personal work done, get some things rearranged, and excuse me, get some things rearranged and get back to it. Um, of course, I'm seeing things on horizons. and that prepping for those was actually calling more of my attention. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what we've been doing really for the last few months. So I just wanted to go ahead and make a video, let you guys know what's been going on, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and you guys have a great day. And remember, it's never a question of if, it's a question of when. And now you have the survivor's edge.